Good morning, everybody. Jim Feist and Hank Goldberg here in Las Vegas. Good morning, Hank.
Hey, Jim. How you doing?
I'm doing good. You ready for a busy weekend?
Oh, yeah.
I figured. Are the Nationals going to just sweep this team, or what do you think?
I know a couple of baseball people who think the Nationals are going to come back. Or, I'm sorry, that Houston's going to come back. But I don't know. They've got a good pitcher going for them today, the Nationals do. I knew him when he was with the Marlins. He helped them win a championship. He's been around a long time, and he's a good clutch pitcher. I don't know. It's just it's a tough series to project because Houston has played so poorly in the first two games.
Yeah, they have, and the other team has been absolutely red hot. Their bats are red hot. Their pitchers are red hot. Anibal Sanchez almost threw a no-hitter last time he was out. I think it was a one-hitter.
Houston is hitting less than 200
wow.
in the postseason, counting the Yankee series.
Yeah, their bats gotten cold at the end of the season. This looks bad for them. It sure really does. It's been good. It's been fun to watch it, but it's not what a lot of people expected. And I guess that one fellow from Houston who bet, I don't know, tons of money on the Astros, he must be pretty nervous.
Oh, that's
Mattress Mac, yeah.
Yeah, that guy, I know him from horse racing. He was a bad owner, horse racing. He kept firing trainers one by one. Not a great guy.
Well, I certainly don't know him, but thanks for sharing that. What do you got going on this weekend that you'd like to talk about?
Well, good college games and, of course, the NFL. That was last night's game was not a great game. Minnesota just toyed with them. What surprised me a little bit was Minnesota's defense and the fact that Washington moved the ball up and down the field against them, although they had to settle for field goals. But Minnesota could have named the score. You know, they ran the clock out with 7.5 minutes to go. They just ran the ball on every down and ate up 7.5 minutes. And the game ended on the 3-yard line. And then, so they failed to cover, although it was a big number. But, you know, everybody who had been ripping the Minnesota quarterback about his inability to play primetime games, he was fine. His percentage was high when he had to throw the ball. He completed passes. But they played a very conservative game, I thought. They just relied on their running game for the most part. And for short passes. He didn't throw the ball downfield very much at all.
Yeah, and Washington is a mess. That franchise has been a mess for a long time. They can change the quarterback, you can change the coach, but can you change the owner?
Well, you know, Minnesota came in there and played. Actually, he was just out to run the football and just eat up clock and keep the ball away from Washington. But Minnesota's defense for the last 2 weeks has not played well against the run. That's something to look for in future games.
Yeah, I'll do that. There's some, we got the one game over in London this week, Cincinnati Rams, 13-point spread. You got Philadelphia coming off that terrible game against Dallas, going to Buffalo. Buffalo's got a great record, but they really played a very weak schedule. Does Philadelphia have anything left in the tank that they can turn this season around?
This is a big game for them. But they've got their secondary back and healthy again. And, they've got to get Jackson back on offense. They really miss him because they don't have any guy who can deliver chunk plays. But they go up there with with a lot of importance to them on the game. Buffalo There's a service out that ranks teams. It said this is the worst 5-1 team in the history of the game, and largely it's Josh Allen is not a great. He's not a great quarterback when it comes to the passing game. And I don't think that he's going to be able to pass the game against this team. And Philadelphia has to go in there, and they've got to do a couple of things. One, they've got to get the ball into the hands of their running back who has some speed, and they've got to get the ball to Ertz to move the chains. And Philadelphia, this is really an important game for Philadelphia because the last 2 weeks they played against really hot offenses, Minnesota and Dallas. This is not a hot offense, and Philadelphia is in a division where they can still come back. So they're not. It's interesting to me that all the people who handicapped that game last week and thought Philadelphia was going to beat Dallas are now saying, "Well, we really blew it with Philadelphia. We thought they were a good team, and they're not a good team." Well, they still have a lot of talent on that team, and they've got to get Peters healthy, their offensive tackle. They just had a slew of injuries, like Dallas had going in the last week. When they start to get some of these guys healthy, they're a good football team.
Yeah, they were very predicted by a lot of people to be the best NFC team at the beginning of the year before the year started. It just hasn't happened. The biggest question with Philadelphia coming into the season was Wentz and whether he could perform without Foles there and stay healthy. But so far he's still standing up, but his offensive line didn't protect them much last week. Like you said, that's a lot to do with injuries.
Well, something. Everybody's against Wentz now. I was not confident about him because I didn't think he was that accurate a passer. And now all of a sudden everybody's against him. They weren't against him until after last week's game. I never heard a lot of anti-Wentz talk until after he had a bad game against Dallas.
No, I think everybody thought he was very talented. They were wondering about his durability, whether he could stay healthy.
Yeah, his health was an issue.
Yeah. Well, Cleveland's going to try to take on New England. Nobody's been able to take New England down or even slow them down. Cleveland 2-4 on the season. Everybody thought this was their year, but they certainly have not performed. Baker Mayfield, the coach, everything is just sort of falling apart for them. But this is a big task for Cleveland. I don't know. The spread was 10, now it's 13. What do you think?
I went to 12 yesterday. I'll tell you the thing with Cleveland is the quarterback, now he's criticizing officials before the game. And he's willing to pay the fine, and he's talking about freedom of speech. This guy's an idiot. Freedom of speech doesn't apply to private business. It has to do with the government. And he's mouthing off too much, and he's got his head in the wrong place. He's got 11 interceptions, and he's going against a team that's generated 27 interceptions on defense. And their secondary is tremendous, and he's slow. He can't turn the corner when he runs. He's got defensive linemen who can run him down. And right now, New England's defense is number one in every defensive category.
Yeah, they're pretty amazing. Talk about a coaching mismatch. Kitchens against Belichick. It doesn't get any bigger than that.
Belichick is going for his 300th win.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
They never thought Shula would get caught.
Wow.
I'm sure Shula is not happy to see Belichick catching up to him. I've got to give him a call this week and talk to him about it. But, Shula's record was one that nobody thought would ever be caught.
Yeah, Shula was amazing, and Belichick is just what he's done, I don't know. He's been there, about 17 or 18 years or something in New England? Been amazing. It's just unbelievable what they're doing. There's been a lot of changes, a lot of trade talk. A couple trades have already been made. I see where a lot of teams are after Nick Mullins, who's a backup quarterback for the 49ers. Performed pretty well last year, and there's a lot of people looking to get him. You ever heard anything about that?
I have not, no.
What does Chicago do?
Something. If I'm these teams who have backup quarterbacks playing behind guys who get hurt all the time, I'm not so in such a hurry if they're real contenders to trade away their backups.
Well, the Niners are carrying two guys behind Garoppolo. They got C.J. Beathard and they got Nick Mullins. And I suppose for the right price, they would be willing to get rid of Mullins if they got what they wanted. There are like 6 offers for him already, but they haven't accepted one. Speaking of quarterbacks and needing quarterbacks, the Chicago Bears, I mean, they had a great year last year. Their defense really did remarkable. But the defense has fallen off this year, and a lot of people think it's because the offense is putting too much pressure on them. They don't perform. The offense has just let them down. And Trubisky was a big draft choice that just isn't paying off. There are quarterbacks out there, like a guy like Mullins, or that might do better. I don't know. Does Chicago make a move, or they just stick with this guy?
Well, they're trying very hard. They've been talking to the Saints, but the Saints aren't going to get rid of Bridgewater right now because Breeze is coming back from an injury, and the Saints think this is their year, and they're not going to get rid of Bridgewater in case Breeze gets hurt again. They can wait till next year, they may not get anything for Bridgewater because he's a free agent after this season, but they've got to ride him out until the end of the season. Like I said, because Breeze, you don't know at his age how he's going to come back and if he's going to get hurt again. But that's the guy that Chicago has their eye on. They think if they get Bridgewater, that'll be the answer to their problems. Or trade for high draft picks and go into the draft and try to get somebody there.
Yeah, a lot of movement this year with quarterback changes, and Cam Newton is probably going to get healthy one of these days, and
he's healthy now.
So they're choosing not to play him.
That's right.
Wow. How about Mahomes? He was on the practice field yesterday. I was actually kind of surprised to see him on the practice field.
He might play Sunday. That's why the line keeps dropping in that game.
I mean, dislocating your kneecap does not sound like a very fun thing to do. And then go out there and try to use your leg. Wow.
Well, he's moving around pretty well, and he's been practicing for the last 2 days.
Pretty incredible. How about Green Bay and their wide receiver who's had the turf toe and he hasn't played for a while?
Yeah, they sure missed him when Rodgers threw 5 touchdown passes last week.
They didn't miss him at all. No, Devontae Adams. They say he's making some progress, but
Green Bay is right now playing so well because of their backfield, and they've got balance, and the coach is doing a good job, and he and Rodgers are getting along very well. But they've got a real strong 2 good running backs who are really helping them, and they've got all these young receivers nobody ever heard of who are making big plays. And right now, their defense is good, is improved a lot. So they're right now playing as well as anybody.
Their defense has been remarkable so far, no question. Just flashed on my screen, whether it's accurate or not, but it does say this: Mahomes is out for this week.
Okay, well, I believe that.
Yeah, I would have to. Yeah, I was actually shocked he was even standing up, but these guys are tough.
Well, his backup has a lot of experience, and he's won playoff games in the past, and they've got their speed guy, their outside receiver playing again. And last week, their secondary has a pretty good record in pass defense. They rank among the leaders in the league.
Wow.
Believe it or not. And last week, they had 9 sacks against Denver.
Yeah, that's Denver.
Yeah.
I don't think either one of us have much hope for Joe Flacco, but the Kansas, Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers is playing out of his mind this year. So, they're really tough. And that Green Bay and Minnesota tussle for that division is going to be really interesting to watch. That's assuming that Detroit and Chicago are going to bow out of that race because of their problems. But New Orleans, Breeze has been throwing a little bit. I don't
think he's going to play this week. Next week they have a bye. They might as well, and they're playing Arizona at home. They might as well let Bridgewater go one more week. They were going to be happy if Bridgewater only lost 2 games, and so far he's unbeaten. So he's gotten them where they expected to go with him. And in a home game against Arizona, there's no point in rushing Breeze back.
And Seattle goes to Atlanta this week. Seattle's coming off that embarrassing home defeat last week where they haven't played well at home this year. They haven't covered a spread this year at home. And now they're going to Atlanta, who has really been a real shit show so far this year. I'm not sure what Atlanta's going to do, but they have not looked good for a while now, and a lot of people saying Quinn needs to go, and Matt Ryan's hurt a little bit. And Russell Wilson.
Matt Ryan's out this week.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
and so Schaub is going to play, and Schaub is he hasn't started a game in 5 years. He's 38 years old, and he's kind of turnover prone.
Russell Wilson said, "Relax." I remember. I think Aaron Rodgers said that a few years ago when they were doing poorly. That's what Russell Wilson said this week. Relax.
This number really went up on Seattle.
You know what I don't understand in that game, Hank, and maybe you have an opinion on this. They hung a 53 as a total. You got a backup quarterback for Atlanta Atlanta's been struggling, but with Ryan, they had been able to score some points. That their defense is terrible. But if Schaub is a downgrade from Ryan on the offensive side, where does 53 points come from?
Because the ball is going to be in the air for Atlanta, and because they had no running game, and Seattle, doesn't have a great pass defense. So he might make a couple of plays. But remember, Seattle is coming in there, and the points are no limit when you're playing against Atlanta. It has a horrible defense.
Yeah, I could see the Seattle side. I just don't know where 53 points are going to come from unless Seattle gets 40 of them.
Well, Seattle should score over 30.
Okay, I agree with that. I would agree. I'd give them 30. 30, 32, 33 maybe. They could do that. Any other games you want to talk about or any other sports? Or by the way, the Warriors opened up last night. They opened up their new arena, and they got kicked. The Clippers just nailed them.
Well, the Clippers are good. They beat the Lakers the other night too.
They are very good.
LeBron ran out of gas in the fourth quarter, and he's playing point guard, and he really slowed the team down. But the Clippers are loaded, and I'm not playing regular season NBA. I played a couple of games the other night. I played Denver against Portland, and I had that winner, and I also had Philadelphia, and that got me out of my 5-game series bet that I had on Houston, so I got even for the World Series. I'm done with that too. But the college, there's some good college football matchups this weekend, and as far as NFL is concerned, Oakland is at Houston. I'm waiting to see if Abrams is going to play or not. He hasn't practiced, but he says he's going to play. He's a big difference maker for the Raiders. But the Raiders' offensive line is going to be playing for the first time this year intact. All their injured players are back. And Houston, of their 7 games, 6 of their 7 games have been decided by 7 points or less.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out because, I mean, this, I love, Watson is a great, really potentially great quarterback. I really like him, but laying 7 points with Houston, and they're just not that type of team that makes me feel comfortable as a favorite. And surprisingly, the Raiders have just played very well. Now, they played really well last week, except Carr made 2 big mistakes. But then, you know, they were playing against Aaron Rodgers, who was absolutely smoking hot. So, you know, you got to take a little bit away from that. But that's a big number. I think Houston laying 7 is a big number.
The biggest game of the week is Carolina at San Francisco, an undefeated team in San Francisco against the number 2 rated defense. I'm curious to see how that game comes out. Carolina goes in there with their quarterback who's unbeaten against San Francisco, whose whole season has been unbeaten. And we'll find out how good San Francisco is this week because they're facing a defense that I think they lead the league in sacks and quarterback hurries. And they are, like I said, they're the number 2 rated defense behind San Francisco. Should be a hard-fought game, and everybody's looking forward to that one. That's the big attraction this week in the NFL.
Yeah, you know, other than the Sunday night game, if Mahomes was playing, which he's not, yeah, you're right. Carolina-San Francisco is probably the biggest game. Unless people just like to see New England beat up on Cleveland. A lot of people...
Well, I mean, I'm talking about matchups. That's no matchup. That's a rout.
I'm only kidding.
But this is a game that matches up 2 of the hottest teams in the league right now, and Carolina always plays well there. They've won 8 straight times against San Francisco.
Did not know that, and they're also coming off a bye, which is actually a positive for well coached teams. That's a positive. That is a good game. That is a very good game. Well, the Lakers come back to work tonight against Utah. 3.5-point favorite. That's the other sport that we're talking about in the NBA, which you're not interested in anymore. But I'll give everybody a free play on that. I took 4 with Utah. It's 3.5 now, but I like Utah to win that game. Anything else you want to cover, Hank?
You know, I've played 3 games in the NBA, and I'm 3 for 3, and I'm done until the playoffs.
A perfect record, 100%.
They had the advanced entries on Thursday for the Breeders' Cup, and Monday is the post draw. There's going to be 12 horses in the Classic. Very ordinary field. So much so that Bill Mott is has cross-entered his filly late in the race. That's how little respect he has for the field.
Wow.
There are no. I think Sugar McGahee's horse will probably be favored in the race, but these horses all been beating each other all year. So much so that the winner of the Ohio Derby is given a chance to win that race. The best race, the outstanding race on the card for the day, is the Dirt Mile. And that matches up, Battle of Midway is going to be in that race, which makes it a standout race. And Bafford's got a horse in there who's going to be outstanding. The 2-year-old races are on Friday. There's 9 Breeders' Cup races on Saturday, and there's 6 2-year-old stakes races on Friday. So it's a big weekend. And Monday they'll draw for post positions. But there are several horses who are cross-entered right now. And so the draw is at, around 1 o'clock in the afternoon West Coast time. So there's plenty of time to handicap the races. And for people who live in the Las Vegas area, I'll be part of a seminar at Sunset Station on Friday afternoon to work on the Saturday races. And Richie Engen's going to be there, who's a great handicapper, and a couple other people who are very good. There'll be 4 of us.
That's awesome, Hank. Congratulations. I look forward to maybe I can pick that up and hear it. Have a great weekend, Hank. I appreciate your time. Everybody out there always enjoys listening to your podcasts. Good luck with everything. Thank you.
Hang on a second, Jim. You still there?
Yeah. Should I turn the tape off?
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure you go to jimfeist.com to pick up Hank's plays and mine. Thank you.